Yeah, there are a number of challenges that are affecting the young people of Zimbabwe. I think there are a plethora of challenges. We can mention a number of things, but for now, let me start by talking about jobs themselves. There's high rate of unemployment in Zimbabwe, which is basically affecting the young people of Zimbabwe. Because when you talk about employment, you're talking about those who are still energetic. So you wouldn't expect someone who's now 75 years to be looking for a job. But obviously for someone who's 25, 22, 30, they'll be looking for jobs. So in a country like Zimbabwe, where there's high unemployment, you realize that the non-availability of jobs becomes one of the fundamental challenges affecting the young people. You can also talk about the issue to do with education. There's high tuition fees in all our institutions. When you talk about higher and tertiary education, the challenge is the same. When you talk about secondary school, the challenge is the same. Even when you talk about primary education, it's also exorbitant, beyond the reach of men. But then you then realize that going back to the Constitution, it is clear, loud and clear, that education is a fundamental right. If you focus into section 75 of the Constitution, education is a right. But what has been the case in Zimbabwe is a situation whereby the right has been converted into a privilege. So those who afford are the ones who are now going to school. And as a result, this has led to a high number of school dropouts. At any given level, you see a number of people dropping out of school. But that is not the only major challenge associated by a high tuition fees. You also realize that there are very, very high cases of people are getting married at a very young age. So are having people getting married before the age that is expected, because they are no longer occupied, they are not in schools. Therefore, the only other thing that comes to their thought is getting into a marriage. And that has also become a big challenge, because most of the marriage then also do not stand for long. And it is also eating into the generality of the citizenry, because the poverty has also been headlining the challenge that are faced by the people of Zimbabwe. So in a context where poverty is high, then you also have unemployment exacerbating the challenges of poverty. Then also see people dropping out of school. So you see that the combination becomes more burdening on the young person. These are some of the challenges. But then of course, we cannot talk about the challenge that are affecting young people, leaving out the issues to do with drugs. There's high level of drug abuse. But it's not a fault of the young people. It is the fault of the circumstances that we are surviving in. Most of the people are now finding a safe haven in the context of taking drugs. They are unemployed. They're idle, they don't have anything to do. As a result, they end up having to embark into a series of abusing drugs, which is something that we wouldn't want to see growing in a society. We need a society that is free of drug abuse. But again, the other challenge that is being faced by the young people, we talk about the serious persecution of political activists. Most of the people who have been active in politics, if you look at them, most of them are a bit young, most of them are youthful, most of them are yet to get old. But in a context like Zimbabwe, where the democratic space is virtually closing with each day, you realize that the other challenge that is affecting the young people is to do with the closure of the democratic space, which is affecting on the political participation of those young people. So one young person might demonstrate today, and the next thing they are arrested for no particular crime, because we understand that according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe, section 59, demonstrating and petitioning is actually a fundamental right where no one has the monopoly to take it away from us. So for that particular reason, you will then realize that we have an array of challenges that are coming back to eat into the lives of the young people of Zimbabwe. So you see that we are in a situation whereby hope has been stolen. Most of the people are now living in a state of hopelessness. And that is our responsibility at the Movement for Democratic Change, especially the Youth Assembly that I lead, to ensure that we restore hope to the generality of the citizens, but fundamentally the young people of Zimbabwe who feel disappointed, who feel dejected, who feel betrayed by the people who claim to be leaders in their particular country.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.